In the wake of Cory Monteith's death and the Glee tribute to him on Thursday, a lot of people have focused on the way he died. That's all they see of him as a person. And although I don't believe that the way someone dies defines their life, and so it really doesn't matter, this may actually be a great opportunity to talk about it. Addiction is a disease. Addicts can't quit on their own. Addiction is caused mainly by a chemical in the brain called dopamine. When any person engages in an activity that is pleasurable, the brain releases dopamine into the brain. This same chemical is released into an addict's brain when they use a drug. The brain then becomes dependent on dopamine, with adverse side effects if the drug is not present. Addiction is cited as a mental disorder in the 5th edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So if addiction is a disease, why don't we treat it like one? The way we react to something is dependent on how we define it. Right now, as a society, we define addiction as a personal problem, as a sign of a weak person who has done it to themselves. In response to that, then, we treat addicts as second-class citizens, and we expect them to get themselves help. As stated before, addicts cannot quit on their own. They need help and support. Since we as a society don't give them the support they need, many struggle for a long period of time until eventually this disease takes their lives. So how do we fix this epidemic? First of all, we need to change how we define addiction. Let's start thinking about addiction in terms of what it actually is. Addiction is a brain disease that develops over time. Addiction has nothing to do with one's morality or strength of character. If we define addiction this way, we remove the stigma attached as well. We can finally start to see addicts as people who are suffering from a disease, who need help and support to recover. As of now, the only treatment is counseling, support groups, self-help programs, and behavioral therapies. If people attach a stigma to addicts, they are less likely to go out and find help because they are afraid of the social repercussions. Addicts need help up, not to be pushed down. And how about how you treat the loved ones of addicts who have died? You repeatedly say that it was their own fault, that they brought it on themselves. Maybe you don't say it to our faces, but we still hear it. It's called empathy. Try it. You have no idea what we've gone through. We've watched our loved one as they struggled against a disease, and there was nothing we could do to help. All we could do was be there for them. The only person who could fight against this disease was them. We were helpless, until eventually we watched this disease kill them, and it feels horrible. We feel like we let them down, even though there was absolutely nothing we could have done. Once again, if we redefine addiction, society could see the addict's loved ones as people who just lost a loved one, and usually much too young. So let's start changing how we view and treat addicts. Let's start helping them instead of pushing them to the fringes of society. Let's make it easier and less daunting for them to get help. Let's make a change.